Hi Scritty, Paul Rowan Clark here. We're taking a look at the new SEO Autopilot update 1.0.2.4. It came out on the 12th of March 2019. It's full of new features, and its main its gold standard feature is a complete rewriting of the diagram editor. So as you guys know, people who followed me perhaps for 10 years or so now know that I've used every tool on the market. I've promoted one or two of them. I only promote the ones I actually use as my daily drivers for link building for myself and my personal clients, not my bricks and mortar business clients, but my personal SEO clients. They use the tool. So this now has gone from being sort of on a par with a couple of its peers, sort of Ranker X and perhaps Money Robot, to now being by some distance ahead. In terms of this, I still think there's value in those other tools, but in terms of the ability to set up and create diagrams, it's much easier. And that's not just this isn't just a product of the diagram editor itself. They've also added something called APG, which is auto-generate account presets based on the diagram account groups. Which means that, as you know, you may, if you have this is a bit of a down and dirty setup. I'll just link those up. Bit of a down and dirty linking setup, bit old school perhaps. But I didn't want to overcomplicate this sort of run through. But as you know, you can have very, very complex diagrams that require you to use multiple different accounts for each tier. And it can get quite complicated knowing which email addresses you've got, which accounts are set up, which account groups are set up, and which email addresses are assigned to which account groups, and you could get lost. Now, however, when you set up an account group, the APG feature will automatically set up generate the account presets. All you really need to do is go in and add, at the basic level, all you need to do is go in and add an email address and test it. It's a great tool, so it makes that a whole lot easier. So that goes along with the diagram editor, and I'll just run through the things that the diagram editor has added. New code, so this is all totally rewritten code. It's Direct2D, which helps prevent the graphic glitches. I didn't suffer from graphic glitches too much before. I do know they existed. I go on the SEO Autopilot Facebook group and I see people talking about graphic glitches. I think it's because I use slightly more simple diagrams than some, and I also use diagrams where I only create the accounts and then I populate them with content individually myself. So I do tend to use the tool somewhat differently to some people sometimes, but that's neither here nor there. Panning is added, holding the control button and moving the mouse to pan. Copy and paste now copies connections and subtrees. We can look at that. So we've got that. So if I go edit, copy, and then I click here, paste, there you are. So you've copied and pasted the whole lot. If I'd have selected the subtrees as well, so if I'd have let's say I take this, hang on, I just want to get that. Is he going to get me out of it? Yeah. Well, I'll move that over. If I move, hang on, if I move 2 and 3 there we go, get those there, that there. I do like the fact this is so malleable now, and it feels so much more stable. So moving these about just seems really easy. But let's say I just did that, there we are, and then I wanted to copy. Say that was much more complicated than just one tier 1 link and a couple of tier 2 link profiles, and then I click there and I paste, there we are, and it's created the whole structure again, which is handy. And also, you know, if you want to just click on there, edit and delete, it deletes them very easily as well. So anything you created you don't like, you can delete. Likewise there, edit, delete, there you are, and the connections go as well. That's really useful. It's very similar to how it used to work before, but the fact is now, rather than each individual entity having to be copy and pasted, it will allow you to copy and paste the entire tree, and the APG setup will recalculate. And I've only tested it once with a diagram of this complexity, but it will recalculate exactly what accounts you need to set up. Anyway, you can go old school like we did with SE Nuke back in the day and Ultimate Demon, things like that, and just have one account does all. But people who are concerned about Google footprinting probably realise that you want to have multiple accounts. The zoom in and zoom out has been improved, and it has. There we are. Zoom in and zoom out. Fit to screen improved. And it works on even huge diagrams. I'm not going to, well, I might move to a huge diagram later, but it's all part of the same thing. It's totally rewritten code. multiple selection rare bug fix. I never came across that bug, and I wanted to replicate it for this little talk over, but I couldn't. Impossible connections line bug fixed. So that's where you've sort of created, from my understanding, again, it's not something I came across, but you could basically have an infinite loop where you could set up a link that went both ways, and it would actually cause problems with the whole process working when it came to it. I don't like that line being there. Never mind that. Never mind. Let's see if I can. Yeah, never mind. And the status bar bug fix, again, I only came across that once, and I can't replicate it now to show you. So there's a few bug fixes in there as well. I'll just run through the other features, 1.0.2.4. So they've added a very high domain authority new Web 2.0 site, XTGem, which is, I think, is a domain authority of 64. So it's suitable for first tier links. You can put it as a second tier. I wouldn't put it any lower than that. It's a decent site that allows you to add your own content. So, as usual, as I always say to people, over time, the strength of the link will be based on two things: whether the Web 2.0 site allows you to keep that profile, and how strong the content is on that profile, whether it is subject to a decent amount of latent semantic indexing, regardless of how many tiered links on the second and third tier you build to it. So the content on your first tier is far more important than the content on any other tier, for a factor of probably 10 to 1. So whether that domain authority transfers to page authority for your own links, which some people say can't be done, it certainly can be done. You can gain, on any of these Web 2.0 sites, you can gradually gain page authority, leech from the domain authority, if the content is good enough. But that's, those of you that understand and know that will appreciate that's how that works. Account folders, bugs been fixed. Campaign form, bug fixed. Link matching, bug fixed. Spinned articles and paragraphs, a little bug there fixed. Cancel diagram, bug fixed. Web 2.0 profiles, bug fixed. That's the only one of these bugs that I came across. The form resize bug fix. It didn't resize it, and everything. The form stayed the same size. The text on the form stayed the same size, but the form itself grew. So that's the only one I've actually come across. The graphic user interface has been totally optimized and improved. It's very much smoother. My one criticism of SEO Autopilot, I've got a few actually, but probably one that hit me the most when I used it, was moving things around seemed a bit jerky sometimes. Now everything here and just everywhere else is just absolutely smooth as silk and makes absolute sense. They don't have right click. I'm right clicking there and that doesn't work. That would be great if they were to add right click and put this edit menu in right click. I'd love that. So Elias, if you ever get around to listening to this, I'd love a right click menu, but I really appreciate what you've done so far. Status bar, a little bug fix there. Stop start buttons, bug fix. Campaign account folders name now prevents special symbols, which is really useful. So a lot of people were using tools which auto-generated some content, which, as I say, from second and third tier links, that's fine. I mean, you can do it first tier links, but just in my way of working, that's fine. But sometimes that would add special symbols, question marks, exclamation marks, ampersands, hyphens, all that kind of stuff. And what would happen is you try and create the account and you get account creation errors due to the fact that the site wouldn't accept special symbols in either the username or the password. And no matter how you spun it, 9 times out of 10 a special symbol would appear, and after 3 attempts with a special symbol you'd be locked out of creating an account on there and you'd get a failure. So now where special symbols aren't allowed, special symbols won't be pushed through, which is really handy. I believe the one little test I've done, it's entirely transparent to the user. So if you accidentally put special symbols in, and I might be wrong here, if somebody pick me up in the comments if I am, it looks like the special symbols are stripped. You still have the issue that you have to have a unique account name, of course, and then a unique blog name if you're building a Web 2.0, of course. So always make sure you've got enough variations to ensure that the profiles you're building are unique, because again, if they're not unique, you won't be able to build them, and that'll be another error. Several broken websites fixed. I've never had an issue with SEO Autopilot's broken websites. And as you know, I was a very big advocate of Demon back sort of 5 or 6 years ago. Ultimate Demon, I should say. Through my website Demon, but this is the situation now that the guys at Edwin Soft were very, very good at fixing websites. They'd have an update at least once a month, often twice a month. Well, Elias and his team, they just don't allow, because they're so visible on the Facebook page and they're so visible on Twitter, and you can actually speak to the developers almost in real time. They're very hyper conscious and hyper aware of letting anything slip on this tool. They just don't allow it to happen. So what you find is an error is reported for the sign-in protocol for a website, the script fails, or the adding content script fails, and it's fixed super quick. And if you're going to be that visible on social media, that's what you have to do if you want to avoid a social media storm. So that's what they do. All in all, the two things that really most, and they go together about 1.0.2.4, is the diagram editor being rewritten. This is now just an absolute joy to use. You can actually sort of feel the power flowing from this as you use it. It's just a wonderful tool. And the integration of that with this APG, the account preset group, and those two go together really well. So when you come to do your account presets, they're all there ready for you to rock and roll. Let's have a look at let's just get this in here and have a look at a nice big one. Let's have a look at Hercules, why not? So here's Hercules. So this is one of the most, as you can see, this is just astronomical Hercules. But say you wanted to copy and paste that. I was trying to right click again, there you are. That's how easy it is now. And all the connections are also copied and pasted. You can remove the connections, you can paste them elsewhere. Just a fantastic way of working. It's so much quicker, and this is seamless. Whereas a little bit jerky before, I mean, this is a proper complex diagram, whereas it's a little bit jerky before. Now it's absolutely smooth as silk. My PC's 6 or 7 years old now. It was well spec'd for the time, but it has no issue whatsoever running this. I still have internet lag issues when I run SEO Autopilot on my VPS, but that's that's the internet and the fact that it's a virtual server rather than the fact that SEO Autopilot itself is slowing down. Absolutely, it's just as smooth as silk, and incredibly powerful. I mean, you can create this, use this, create your own. Just a great tool, and it now all works so much better. So what I'm expecting to see over the next 2 or 3 months is some really inventive variations on these being created. Anyway, so it's Squitty, Paul Rowan Clark, signing off.